short and to the point. I was asked to talk about the campaign for $15 an hour. How many people here have a job that pays less than that? Okay. Anybody have a job that pays more than that? No? Okay. So over half of the jobs in the United States pay less than $15 an hour. Many people who go to school, as Ken was talking about, rack up all kinds of student debt, lots and lots of student debt. People here have been struggling against the increase in tuition. And they hope, I guess, that when you get out of college, that you will be able to get a good job and pay back some of that student debt, so it's not going to be somebody knocking your door all the time. But the reality is that many people are not going to be able to do that, that the jobs just aren't there, that there are thousands of people now who are adjunct professors who have PhDs and who get $25,000 a year, working at USC, for example. There's a big organizing campaign of adjunct professors there. $25,000 a year, and they're not allowed to get another job at another university. So they're trapped in that situation. So even the more professional jobs that people might aspire to are not high-paying jobs. For many, many years, actually, the figure is that the wages have been declining. Real wages have been declining for quite some time, particularly since the 1980s, because from that period of time until now, there have been wage cut after wage cut after wage cut, either explicit and real and absolute wage cuts, or wage cuts through other means by increasing the amount of money people have to pay for health insurance and other things like that, and also the decline in rights that people have. And there have been episodic moments where the labor movement has been rising up to stop that. But recently, and for the most part that's not been the case, but recently there's been a major change in the labor movement. And people are beginning to rise up and say, we're not going to take it anymore. Just last Thursday, a week ago, there were 10,000 people in Long Beach who were demonstrating in support of the International Longshoremen's Union. Because the longshoremen have a contract that was up almost a year ago. Actually, it was up in June. And they've been in a big battle right now. And so people are 10,000 people marching at the port in Long Beach is a very significant number of people. That's a significant port, the port of Long Beach in Los Angeles, in Wilmington, and that concentration of port facilities, 40% of all the goods that come into the United States come through there. Like 900,000 jobs are directly related to that port operation. It's a key driver of the economy locally, it's a key driver of the economy nationally, and if something would happen there, then that would be a very big event. The port truck drivers are organizing there. They've been on strike and they've been winning stuff. They are paid below minimum wage, as are there's another group of people working warehouses there who are challenging wage theft, and they're not being paid what they're supposed to be paid in terms of the minimum wage. But probably the biggest thing that's happening right now are the movements for $15 an hour. The movements to create either an ordinance, as there's a coalition in Pasadena, there's another coalition that's developing in Long Beach, and there's a very big coalition that's happening that's existing right now in Los Angeles, that's fighting for a minimum wage of $15 an hour, and in the case of Los Angeles, also greater protection against wage theft. Los Angeles is known as the low-wage capital of the country. It's also the wage theft capital of the country. Over $1 billion per year that should be going into people's paychecks is not going into people's paychecks. Over $1 billion a year. Those are official statistics. And even when corporations are challenged on that, as they frequently are, they're taken to the authorities and rulings are made that there was wage theft that occurred, they still don't pay the wages that are owed. Over 90% of the time, they don't abide by the orders to pay the money. That's because there's no effective wage enforcement. So that the Los Angeles Coalition is demanding $15 an hour and effective wage enforcement. They're also demanding paid sick leave, that every worker should be entitled to paid sick leave. Something, these sort of things, these problems don't exist in North Korea in terms of rights to sick leave, rights to health care, etc. But most people don't have paid sick leave on the job. And this ordinance would solve that problem. People who are housekeepers, for example, in hotels. sometimes have to sneak their children in and keep them in closets because they either can't afford daycare or because they're sick and they can't leave them at home. There are all kinds of stories like that that dramatize the situation with lack of sick leave. And so those are the three elements of what the LA battle is all about. There's a rally that's happening tomorrow. There'll be 1,000 people at City Hall who are demanding that this law be passed, and that's opening up a new phase in the struggle. And we hope that within several months that this law will be passed. We're going to try. The objective is to create the pressure to make the people on City Council do what they should be doing, should have done already, and that is pass a law like that. So there are these coalitions that are engaging in changing the law, as it could be changed here in Irvine, as it could be changed in Orange County in general, but it could be changed through an ordinance here in Irvine. But in addition to that, in addition to change in the law, is the struggle really that sort of changed the labor movement in the beginning, and that was in the recent past. And that is the struggle of fast food workers to try to get $15 an hour. And so that probably only 5 years ago, if we've been up here talking about, well, McDonald's workers and Burger King workers and other people like that are going to be going out on strike and demanding $15 an hour in the union, most people who have some experience in the labor movement like I do would have said, well, that's a great idea, but it's really not going to happen. But in fact, it is happening. That in cities across the country, people that workers from McDonald's, workers from Burger King are striking, are demanding $15 and are demanding the rights. They're not just doing it and I'm striking today and I'm striking a couple of weeks from now, but also organizing on the job so that they have power on the job. So that if the boss does something, even though they don't have a union right now, they're going collectively to the boss to demand that some change be made on the job. And so they're expressing that power. So when the boss creates an unfair labor practice, commits an unfair labor practice, even though they don't have a union, they're filing unfair labor practice charges and winning on those. The same is true with Walmart, but organizing at Walmart. So that struggle at McDonald's in particular, all the fast food places, is at a much higher point now than it has been. The last major strike, last national strike was on December the 4th, and there were strikes in hundreds of cities across the country. There was mass civil disobedience with lots and lots of people being arrested to try to expose what's going on. And the next big action is going to be on April the 15th. And the biggest actions they'll be in all the states across the country, but the biggest actions will be in New York, Chicago, and LA. And I can tell you that there are going to be many, many, many thousands of people on the street that day, and there are going to be some very dramatic actions on that day. Pressing for this. Just yesterday, the CEO of McDonald's, which made $9 million last year, he was forced to resign, and they put somebody else in his place. In part, that's because of the strength of this movement. The strength of this movement has branded McDonald's as being a bad employer. Has branded McDonald's as being a cheap, labor rights violating corporation that only cares about the profits for its people. And time and again, when people see it in the press that their people are striking, more and more people are saying McDonald's is not a good thing. So they hired somebody to replace the CEO that was fired yesterday. It's more concerned with trying to do something about that brand. This demonstration is happening on the 15th. Will be followed by subsequent demonstrations at their shareholders meeting on the 20th and 21st of May, and other actions after that. I can tell you, it's a very, very determined campaign to win something, to actually gain something for the workers there. And think about that. If you could get a union and get $15 at McDonald's, think what that will do for all the workers who are there, both documented and undocumented, who are working there, temporary and not temporary. Think what that will do then for Burger King and all the Darden restaurants and all the other fast food places, all the people in this country that need a decent wage, that need to have health care, that need to have pension, that need to have sick leave, that need to have rights on the job, that need to have some power and dignity, that gives them a symbol, something to look forward to, that something to show them that it is possible to do. So if you're interested in joining that struggle, interested in changing your own conditions, interested in changing other people's conditions of life, then let me know. I can hook you up with what's going on.
All right. Well, that's about it. If you guys are here for extra credit at all, we got a sign-in sheet here. And also, if you want to stay in contact with the Workers Student Alliance, we have weekly meetings, and we also have sign-in sheets for that too. If you want to stay in contact and get updates. So, yeah, thanks for coming.